I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country. Thanks so much for joining us on a Monday night. My special guest is a country music legend with more than 30 chart hits. He is a TV and movie star and a member of the International Western Music Hall of Fame. He's got a brand new album. We're going to talk about that tonight and a bunch of other great things that he's got going on. It is always a pleasure to welcome Rex Allen Jr. to My Kind of Country. Rex, my friend, how are you tonight?
Scott, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fabulous. What an honor it is to be able to talk to you again. It's been a few years since we've gotten together. I appreciate you taking the time.
You know, it's just been too darn long.
Well, Rex, it's great to have you back on the show tonight, and I'm very excited about your new project and so many other great things that you've got going on. So let's just get into it and have a great discussion tonight. Good to have you.
I've released one single, but excuse me, but it was in the foreign market. And I released the Buck Owens song Together Again into the foreign market, and it's doing very well there. I'm top 20 in Australia and New Zealand and all over the EU and in the UK and places like that. But the European market, no, let me put it this way. The market outside the United States is different. Mm-hmm. And that market is, those folks over there, you know, they enjoy the art form of country music, not what it is today. They like the art form of country music, and to me, what's going on today in country music is it's not my thing, and it isn't for any of my generation. But part of what bothers me is I think they got away from what, you know, the real roots of country music really are, and that's the only thing that bothers me about it, and that's why I don't listen to it much.
I agree.
But the foreign market is, you know, they want to hear those songs like that, and they want to hear them, you know, more traditional kind of country music.
Absolutely.
Now, for the U.S. market, we'll release something else.
We have a huge listenership overseas, and you're right. That's what they want to hear, you know. And
it is huge overseas, and I mean, they're wonderful and loyal fans. I get a lot of emails and stuff like that from those folks over there, and you know, it's nice. You know, it's cool to know you have an international audience all the time. The irony of it all is that one thing that has been good about the internet age is that we used to be governed by content laws, and I never had any records released in the United Kingdom. And the reason why I didn't is because they have a law in the United Kingdom that if you're going to release a U.S. artist, when I was on Warner Brothers as an example, in the UK, you had to release a UK country artist in the United States. Well, the problem is there wasn't that many of them.
Yeah.
So nobody got any release. I didn't get any there. T.G. Shepherd didn't get any there. Eddie Raven didn't get any there. You know, they released a few guys, but George Jones and that sort of stuff, but the rest of us, no.
Yeah.
You know, the irony of it is with the internet, we don't have to worry about that anymore. iTunes is downloadable anywhere in the world, and they can't stop it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it's the same with AirPlay. They play the records over there. You know, we don't mail them anymore. We send them via we email everything.
Yeah. We reach all over the world. You know, we're sitting here broadcasting, you know, from Michigan and or Tennessee or wherever you're at. You know, we're hitting everywhere. So it's, you know, the technology in that sense has been a huge help at getting the music out there, especially for independent artists and artists like yourself that are recording fantastic music that in this day and age are never going to get played on the top 40 country stations. So thank God.
Not a chance. Not even. There's no point in even sending it to them.
No.
Don't waste your time and effort. You know, they're going to play it.
It really is, and it's a shame because there's so much great music out there. And another thing I've noticed in the last few years, T. Graham Brown's a great example. He did this a couple years ago. He did a Bare Bones album, and a lot of artists are doing acoustic projects, and this is beautiful. And the last time we saw you, Rex, was down in Pigeon Forge there a few years ago at the NACMA Awards,
right.
and you came out and did that very thing with just your guitar, and I'm telling you, it was mesmerizing. And I think it's just wonderful the way you've put this package of songs together with that, you know, very sparse accompaniment so that you can hear the words of the song and it really draws you in and makes you listen. And you've picked out a pretty eclectic mix mix of stuff, and to be very honest with you, you surprised me on some of these, and I didn't really know what I was going to hear when I turned on a Beatles song, but I'm telling you, you made these songs just absolutely your own, and I've got to applaud you for what you did.
Well, the Beatles songs, and I started playing music a long time ago, and I started when I had a folk band in high school, and we played folk music, and the name of the band was the Townsmen, and then one Sunday evening, Ed Sullivan had the Beatles on, and literally folk music ended when they hit the last chord. It was over. And I had a band, my folk group, we had dates. We had 3 or 4 dates booked the next week, playing. I was in high school playing music, playing hootenannies, And I called to advance the performances, and they said, oh, well, we don't want that now. We want rock and roll. And I said, well, we are a rock and roll band. And I changed the band name to Saturday's Children. We added a drummer. One guy had a bass, and he played bass, and I had an electric guitar and an amplifier and one microphone, and we went out and did the same darn songs as rock and roll songs, and they didn't know the difference. They didn't have a clue. All they knew was it had drums in it, and they were happy. The rest of the story is that my dad hated the Beatles. He hated them. He called them those long-haired hippie freaks.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me either. But I sat there and listened to that for about a year with my dad, and finally, at one afternoon, I sat him down and I went and I said, "Hey, Dad, you got some time to sit down and listen to a few songs?" And he said, "Sure." So I said, "Okay." So I went in and I did a medley of "Help," "Please Please Me," and "In My Life." I did a medley, a verse and a chorus of each one of them, and put them all together, and slowed them down like I did on the album, on this album. And I got through with them, and my dad looked at me and he said, "Those are some of the greatest songs I've ever heard. Did you write that?" I said, "No, Dad, that was written by those long-haired hippie freaks you don't like so much." Well, it changed his attitude about the music overnight. And, he started listening to it with a different ear. And those are the kind of songs that, I did back then. I think that, when you look at this album, the first cut on it is Together Again. And, that's a country music standard by Buck Owens. And it's a great, great song and deserves to be heard again. But you aren't going to hear it on, any place but stations like yours, or they say there are 2,500 radio stations that play in the United States that play country music, and only 500 of them report. The other 2,000 is where music like this should live, But that's kind of way. All of the songs on the album, whether it be, "Come Monday" by Jimmy Buffett, which that was Jimmy Buffett's first record. That's what we all loved about Buffett was the first 2 or 3 songs that he did, and long before there were parrot heads, Simon and Garfunkel. And my goodness me, in my generation, and probably Bob Dylan will go down as the greatest songwriter of all time in music because he wrote so darn many hits. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And so there's a Bob Dylan tune on this thing, and there should be. I don't, even Cash, Cash did an album with Dylan and should have, but there's, everything from that to, I spent 8 years on TNN with the Statler Brothers, so I did a Statler Brothers song, "Susan When She Cried." If this is going to be the last Rex Allen Jr. album, I wanted it to be representative, and I hope I did it, of my history in music and what I lived with all of my life. I've been fortunate enough that, I listened to everything I could get my hands on and loved all of it. But, there was parts of it I liked better than others. I liked, some of the early Buck Owens things more than I did, I never was much of a Rolling Stones fan.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't a Beatles fan either. There were certainly 2 or 3 songs that I thought that are just, phenomenal pieces of material. And don't ask me where it comes from. I don't know. But, that's why the album is what it is. And hopefully what they'll do is download the whole album, not just one cut,
Yeah, I often recommend to my listeners, get the whole album because, I still look at albums as a whole concise project, and I like to listen to them from start to finish. I like to listen to them in the order that the artist put the songs in, because sometimes if you're just listening to a song here and there, you're missing something.
I am personally, and every artist will say the same thing. Download the whole darn album. I mean, you download one cut for $1, and you can download the whole darn album for $10. Why don't you download the album? That's silly, And that way you get the full value. And you get the album cover, you get the artwork, you get everything else. And I hope people do that with this project.
Together again, my tears have stopped falling. The long, lonely nights are now at an end. The key to my heart you hold in your hand, and nothing else matters. We're together again. Gray skies are gone now. You're back in my arms. Now where you belong. The love that I knew is living again. And nothing else matters. We're together again. And nothing else matters. We're together again. Got over Charlotte Thompson, Goldie Johnson, Lord, they done me wrong. I took it hard with Betty Harper. She hurt me bad, but not for long. There's just one thing I remember, makes me feel funny down inside. I'd trade them all for just 1 hour of Susan when she tried. No, there's never been a woman who could make me weak inside and give me and it's bad in December when they play those Christmas songs. So if you ask me and I don't tell you, bet your sweet bottom dollar I lie. 'Cause there's never been one better than Susan when she tried. No, there's never been a woman who could make me weak inside and give me what I needed, like Susan when she tried. No, there's never been a woman who could make me weak inside and give me what I needed, like Susan when she tried. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please, please help me? And now my life has changed in oh so many ways. My independence seemed to vanish in the haze. But every now and then I feel so insecure, and I know I need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please, please help me? Please, oh yes, please help me. In my life, I've loved you more.
It's the last one that I'm going to do with the Rex Allen Jr. I'm not going to do any more. Will I continue to record? Yes, because recording is a hobby to me, and this album is. You were talking about how it's basic and simple and so on and so forth. Well, I did all of it. It was all done in my house studio. Mm-hmm. Every instrument is played by me except for the violin on a couple of cuts.
That's great.
And so everything's played by me. Every guitar part, every piano part, every bass part, every drum part, everything. I do all of it.
That leads me to a question I want to ask you. You touched earlier on. You said earlier that you had renamed your early band Saturday's Children, and I noticed on the credits for your album that the musicians on here are Sunday's Children. So I assume there's a connection there, right?
No. They've got no. It says background vocals Saturday's Children, musicians Saturday's Children. It says Saturday's Children, and that's you and your listeners are now in the know. because if you download this album or one of the songs off of it, the background vocals and the musicians are Saturday's Children. Well, Saturday's Children is long gone, but Rex Allen Jr. is still here, and I'm Saturday's Children.
There you go. All right. I love that. That's great. And you released this on CountryRewindRecords.com. I know you've been working with them a lot, and we've done a lot of features on the albums that have come out. And what a fantastic label! They're going back and finding all these wonderful recordings that were never released by different artists. And I know you've been actively involved in that, and I'm glad to see that you put your album on this.
I think I've produced 8 albums for them.
Yeah.
Where those projects come from, and probably if you haven't, you and I've talked about it, and some of the other artists will tell you the same thing. When we were here, when I first got here, and it was getting successful in Nashville, they asked me to do Armed Forces radio shows. And, one time we'd do it and it'd be for the Army, the next time it'd be for the Air Force, the next time it'd be for the Navy, and so on and so forth. And I did probably half a dozen of them over the years, and most of us did. Most of the artists did. Well, I was unaware that where Armed Forces radios, when it started right during the Korean War back in the 50s. And I had no idea that my dad had done them. The Sons of the Pioneers had done them. Tex Williams had done them. Merle Travis, who's probably one of the greatest guitar players of all time, he did them. He even played guitar on them. So Les Paul, on my dad's stuff, it's Les Paul's playing guitar.
Man.
So they were wonderful projects to go back and put together. And, the Hank Snow. And when I first came to town, I was fortunate. The first tour I ever worked in my life, I was the opening act for Hank Snow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, that's why I'll let you in on another little bit of trivia. I've committed to some friends, and I'm going to go ahead and write the book. I've been trying to not do that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it and write the book. I'm one of the last people that remembers even working with those people. I mean, I was new in the business, yes. But, I worked dates with Hank Snow and Kitty Wells and Homer and Jethro. I worked with Homer and Jethro, for goodness sake.
Wow.
And the list is endless of the people I worked with throughout the years. But there isn't anybody, there's not too many of us around to remember those things anymore.
I know. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We need to preserve that, and a lot of the interviews I've been doing are like that. I've done, interviews with tons of people that I'm trying to get some of that history down before it gets lost to time, because it's important. It's where it got us to where we are now, and people are interested in it. I know I certainly am. I'd love to hear that stuff. Like you said, we're losing so many of those direct links to those people. And while we still got you all here, we need to get this down as much as we can.
Yeah,
so.
You need to get it down.
Yeah.
It's kind of like T.G. Shepherd, and goodness me, T.G. started out as a teenager promoting records for out of Memphis, Tennessee for I believe RCA, and he promoted Elvis Presley records, and he used to go hang out with Elvis.
Yeah.
There aren't too many people around that can do that. Say that.
That's for sure.
I met Elvis. He came to my house for dinner when I was a kid.
Is that right?
Yep. That's going in the book.
I would hope so.
That's why people want me to write a book. Okay, well, I will, because I can tell stories like that.
Oh, that's great. Folks, I want to let you know you can go to RexAllenJr.com, which is Rex's official website. And, of course, you can get the album there. You can get it from Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify. It's called For the Last Time, released on July 1st. And great new music, and I highly recommend it. And, Rex, you're also going to be making an appearance at a real special place here shortly at the Bluebird Cafe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time in my life, I'm actually working in the Bluebird here in Nashville, which was made famous obviously by the television series. But the Bluebird has been going on here for, golly, I can't even remember, 40 years? And for those of you who have not been to the Bluebird Cafe here in Nashville in person, it's not as big as it was on television. It's a small place. It's a small place. It's not a very big place, but it's been very instrumental, and songwriters and people like that have done the Bluebird for years. And finally, I'm going to get to do it. We're doing a Western music night. As you know, that I'm a member of the International Western Music Hall of Fame, and they have what we're doing is a Western music night. One of the three most active chapters of the International Western Music Association is here in the state of Tennessee. And so I'm doing it. Doug Green, who is Ranger Doug from Riders in the Sky, Bobby Marquez, and we were fortunate enough to get Jeannie Fisher, and Jeannie is probably the most awarded female in Western music history.
Oh, she's fabulous.
She's just a wonderful gal, and she's just about quit too.
Man.
But she lives here, and she lives here and in California, but she has a home here, and she'll be here during that period. So it'll be the four of us doing, and it'll be all Western songs I've written. A lot of people don't realize that the last four Western songs to chart on the Billboard Hot 100 were all mine.
Is that
I'm the
right?
one.
I'll be darned.
Ride Cowboy Ride, Last Silver Screen Cowboys, songs like that. Those were all charted songs on Billboard, and they were all Western songs that were, I either performed or wrote. I wrote a lot of things. So it'll be a fun night, and for those of you who are planning on coming to Nashville anytime in that time period, get in line, come see us at the Bluebird.
Awesome. We'll make sure and put that information on our Facebook page for My Kind of Country and keep you posted there. And we're going to play a bunch more cuts from this wonderful album for the last time. And I encourage my listeners to go to rexallenjr.com, because Rex has got just a whole bunch of great music, including the Garage series that you did. There's some wonderful, wonderful music there. And also, you can go to countryrewindrecords.com. As we were talking about earlier, so many great releases there, including the Hank Snow one we talked about. The Webb Pierce one, too, Rex, is fabulous. I love
Thank
that
you.
one.
I did the Webb Pierce one.
I know you did. I had Webb Jr. was on my show, and we did a feature on it. And
did you really? That's cool. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until I started doing that project. He was actually the postmaster here in the town I live, or in the area I live in, Nashville and Bellevue.
I'll
He
be
was the
darned.
postmaster in Bellevue for years.
I'll be
20 years.
darned. I didn't know that. Wow, that's amazing. Well, Rex, as always, I sure enjoy our conversations, and I sure enjoy this wonderful new album. We're going to play a bunch more cuts for our listeners, and
Well, thank you.
thank you so much for taking time to be with me again on My Kind of Country. It is always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Take
Talk
care.
to you later.
Bye-bye.
Heading up to San Francisco for a Labor Day weekend show. I've got my moccasins on. I guess I never was meant for glitter rock and roll. And honey, I didn't know that I would be missing you so. Come Monday, it'll be alright. Come Monday, I'll be holding you tight. I spent 4 lonely days in a brown LA haze, and I just want you back by my side. Yes, it's been quite a summer. Rent-a-cars and westbound planes, and now you're off on vacation. Something you have tried to explain. And darling, it's I love you so. That's the reason I just let you go. Come Monday, it'll be alright. Come Monday, I'll be holding you tight. I spent 4 lonely days in a brown LA haze, and I just want you back by my side. I can't help it, honey. You're that much a part of me now. Remember that night in Montana when we said there'd be no room for doubt. Enjoying the scenery, I know that it's pretty up there. We can go hiking on Tuesday. With you I would walk anywhere. California's worn me quite thin. I just can't wait to see you again. Come Monday, it'll be alright. Come Monday, I'll be holding you tight. I spent 4 lonely days in a brown LA haze, and I just want you back by my side. I spent 4 lonely days in a brown LA haze, and I just want you back by my side. If life is like a candle bright, then death must be the wind. You can close your window tight, but it still comes blowing in. So I will climb the highest hill to watch the rising sun and pray that I don't feel the chill till I'm too old to die young. Let me watch my children grow to see what they become. Oh Lord, don't let that cold wind blow till I'm too old to die young. Now I have had some dear sweet friends I thought would never die. Now all that I have left of them are the teardrops in my eyes. If I could have one wish today and know it would be done, I would say everyone could stay till they're too old to die young. Let me watch my children grow to see what they become. Oh Lord, don't let that cold wind blow till I'm too old to die young.